names of Lakers players that I might know.
Okay, so for context,
Yes.
One time.
this is
Played for the
my
Lakers. Well done,
my third live tournament ever.
Mhm.
My third, or maybe fourth, but my third since I've been back playing. So it's probably my third tournament. I've gotten this deep, and I'm probably scared out of my mind. I'm taking like 3x the time I would these days. And this hand came up. I limped the button because Baisley had 3-bet me probably 60% of the time when I opened, right?
So look at Tony here. How do you interpret it? Strong or weak? Without being biased, like knowing the cards. Like just from body language. Look how he's hunched over. Normally when people bluff, they have like forced physical tells. Everything is like tense. They're not comfortable.
And literally when I got on the plane, I had like $9. I'm going to Vegas
And you're
with
playing like big
$9,
tournaments.
and if I don't win, I can't eat. I'm going to be...
We're live, guys. We're live. My guest today is not just any player. He's a World Series of Poker bracelet winner, a master of the game, and a force to be reckoned with on the tables. But wait, there's more. He's also been crowned 2016 Seminole Hard Rock Player of the Year, dominating tournaments with skill, strategy, and determination. Today, we're going to get inside the mind of David Prociak. What's up, David? By the way, how do you say your last name? Is it Prociak or Prociak?
To be honest, I don't really know. I say Prociak, but
Prociak.
who knows? I don't know.
I saw an old interview with you on Poker News, and the girl said Prociak, so I thought that's why I wasn't 100% sure. How you guys doing today? Shane, what's up? Shane is our co-host per usual.
What's up, guys? Yeah, nice to meet you, David. I've never talked to you in person, so I'm excited for this interview.
Yeah, what's up, man? Never played. I don't think we ever met.
Yeah.
Shane just came on the scene, and he's crushing everything. By the way, congrats on your win, Shane. He just took down the Saturday 500, 100K at the Hard Rock.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. David, why don't you give us a little background? First of all, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. But why don't you give us a little background? How were you introduced to the game of the great game of No Limit Hold'em and the great game of Pot Limit?
Yeah, no problem. I'd love to be here. I mean, do you want the long answer? You want the short answer, or what? What do you
one in the middle? One in the middle, not the short one, but the long one.
I mean, I came up during like the moneymaker boom. So all my friends were playing, and we started playing little $5 home games and all that stuff, and not taking it real serious. And then one of my friends, he discovered like this bar league. It's like a free league, and you'd play in it, and at the end, like every quarter, they would have like a $5,000 tournament. Like the winner would get a five grand buy-in, and plus $1,000 travel. And he actually won it, and I was like so amazed, like you actually win money playing, because we were playing like, free rolls online and stuff like that. Never won
5K
really.
It's real money.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he won a freaking 5K. So I remember like he was reading all these books. I said, hey, can I read some of those books too? And he gave me the books, and I started reading the books, and eventually I went through the entire like public library system of every poker book they had. And yeah, that's where I really started. I just started reading all the books and transitioned to playing online. And actually, I actually won that same bar league tournament for 5 grand. So that was basically my first bankroll boost,
Who's the friend, first of all, and was the bar league? Was Tony Burns involved? Are we talking about the bar league that Tony ran it?
Oh, no. My friend Joseph Sanchez. He doesn't play poker anymore. But it was just some random, I think it was called like the Final Table Tour or something. Yeah, I think it was called Final Table Tour. And it was pretty much all throughout Central Florida. And it was during like the boom. So they were giving away like a lot of money. Like every quarter they were giving away like 5 grand. So it was pretty big deal. What was that, Shane?
Do you remember what happened to that 5K? Did you spin it up or lose it all like in a week or anything? Or?
Well, that's part of the long story. So okay. They give it to you in a buy-in. And at the time I had the job I had, I lost my job because I got hurt. So I was like completely dead broke, and I won this 5K bar league thing. And like online, I was probably making like, small amount of money. So it wasn't like real money. but they give you a buy-in. So I chose to go to the WSOP, and I went out there with Joseph because he had won his, and we both used our travel. It was like going to be a huge thing. So they buy you into tournaments. I bought into like two $1,500 tournaments and a 2K tournament, and literally when I got on the plane, I had like $9. I'm going to Vegas
and you're
with
playing like big
$9,
tournaments.
and if I don't win, I can't eat. I'm going to be there for a week. Like literally, like I have to win. So I get there and I'm at the cage. Actually, our flight was late, right? So we get there and I'm supposed to start that first day and start playing, but our flight was late. So I get to the cage and I'd say, hey, is there any way I can play like the tournament the next day? She's like, yeah, you could just get a refund. I was like, can you refund me for
In cash?
all 3 tournaments cash? And she's like, yeah, no problem.
Let's
I
go.
got 5K, and I never played a tournament in Vegas. I just went there. I played a few cash games, and I went home, and I probably had like 6K when I went home, and I had actual bankroll. I didn't
That's
have
actually
to
like really smart of you.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea you could just ask for the money back, so that's what I did. And
So when you won the bar league, they bought you. How did they buy you, and how did they? I thought they would give you cash. How did they?
no, they ask you what you want to play. I guess the legality of it, they're like, hey, what do you want to play? We'll buy you into it, and they wire the money for the cage, and yeah, that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So that would lock you in those tournaments. It's not like they give you cash and rely on you to buy in. I see.
Exactly.
So you got the refund, got the cash, and made
Yep.
1,000 extra, and came back home with 6K.
Yeah. I think I played like one tournament. Like I played like a Venetian deep stack or something, and I think I like finished 18th. Like it wasn't very significant, but it didn't even show up my Hendon mob, which is weird.
What year was that? What year was that around?
Oh, that was a long time ago. So that's part of the long story as well. So that was it was just before like a year before Black Friday. When was Black Friday?
2012, 2011, 2012.
Oh, really?
I think it was 2013, Black Friday.
So that's when that happened. And when Black Friday happened, I completely quit poker. I didn't play a hand of poker for like 5 years.
Why were you playing online at that time?
Yeah, I was all online. Yeah. Pretty much all online.
So you have an online background.
Yeah, I have an online background. I see you pulling up the Hendon mob.
When you don't have like a huge bankroll, online's kind of like the solution because you can play much smaller and actually play poker. But when you go to a casino, tournaments are $800 and you got $5,000 or whatever. Yeah, it's hard.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was playing pretty small stakes. I was probably making like my bills were super cheap. My bills were like $1,000 a month. I had a small apartment, no expenses really. Online, I'm probably making like $1,500 a month. You know, I was playing pretty small stakes at the time, but just grinding it out. Just playing online for a while. And then when Black Friday happened, it kind of forced me to move on. And that's when I started a business, and it's probably the best thing that happened to me. Started the business.
By the way, your Hendon mob is impressive, man. 2015 first recorded score, you scored 348, which is right out of the gate impressive. Then 2016, 320K. This is the year where you were a player of the year, the Hard Rock, Seminole Hard Rock player of the year. Yeah, your Hendon mob is insane. I always try to emulate what you've done. Then 2020, of course, COVID hits. You're at 85K. 2021, 260K. 2023 is sick, $500,000. But let's talk about 2016.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, I had not played a hand of poker for like 5 years. And I bought a new car. And I said, you know what? I want to try and pay this car down a little bit by playing some cash games. So I went and played some cash games at Hard Rock Tampa, just 5-5 PLO first session. So my car, I paid like 18 grand for it. So first session, I won like 10 grand. I was like, holy crap! Like, what the hell's going on? I bought it for $500. I cashed out 10 grand. So I was like, holy crap! I'm like halfway to it. I went back the next day. I cashed out 9K. Went back the next day. I cashed out like 8K. The first week back, I had not played poker in 5 years. The first week back, I probably made like $60,000.
Where are you playing? So, where are you playing? Like what game?
5-5 PLO. Tampa.
5-5 PLO. Okay. Yeah. Talk to us about the transition to PLO. You started Hold'em, or you were like kind of playing a mix of things? What did you specialize in at first?
So I was mostly playing Hold'em tournaments, and then I started dabbling towards the end of Black Friday. I started dabbling in short stacking PLO games, and a little bit of like learning the mixed games, like not really playing
what
for real
attracted
money.
you to mixed games? Why mixed games?
I mean, I was always a fan of Phil Ivey, and Phil Ivey played all the games. So I was like, I gotta play all the games. You know, that's just what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like a high level player, you know. And for me, poker is just like figuring stuff out. So figuring out new games all the time is just it appealed to me. I don't want to be a robot playing the same freaking game over and over and over. I'd rather be doing something a little different. Yeah.
This is very interesting.
You said your first week back, it was 16K or 60?
60.
60?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What a heater. Do you think, do you like recalling back to it, was it just like an insane run good, or do you remember like having an insane read on the tables you were playing against and like bluffing like crazy, or maybe just people were bad?
I think people were really bad, but I just had a strategy where I just wasn't going to put much money in the pot until I had the nuts. And then when I got the nuts and I started putting a lot of money in the pot, and they started putting a lot of money in the pot too, I'm like, this is just, I don't put any money in when I don't have the nuts. And when I have the nuts, I just put a lot of money in, and they're doing it too.
Like, how's no one figured this out yet?
How have they not figured this out? Like, yeah, it was crazy. Like, I'm not raising you on the flop without top set. Like, and it just worked. I mean, I played really well too, but it just kind of worked out. And
paid off the car.
Paid. Well, actually, I didn't pay off the car.
Okay, you got a good rate.
I said, let me. The plan changed. Okay, so I won all this money. I was like, you know what? I want to play some tournaments too. So I drove down to Daytona. They were having a HPT. So I drive down to Daytona, play the HPT, and I saw online the dates or whatever. I show up the first day, and like, oh, like the tournament doesn't start today. The series starts today. So all we have is these smaller tournaments. So I jump in the first tournament, and I chopped it with 3 guys. I made like 10K or something. First tournament I played in forever. Chopped it for 10K. And then I waited till the main to start. I got deep in the main. I think I finished like final 18 or something.
This is what year, David?
This is 2016, I think. 2016?
Okay.
This is like the beginning of the Hinyan off. So it's whatever the beginning is.
Right.
So yeah, I chopped the first one for 10K. Then I cashed in the main event. And I told my girlfriend, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to play a big tournament. There's one in Hollywood. It's around Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go play that tournament. So I show up there, and I was like, man, it's $3,500. So I fired like 5 satellites and bricked every one of the satellites. And I was like, man, I don't know if I really want to play. You know, she's like, you know what? You really need to play. Like, this is what you want to do. This is your dream to play this tournament. Because it wasn't like I had a dream to play poker for a living or anything like that. She's like, you have to play this tournament. So I bought it for $3,500, and I went on this just amazing run. I ran super hot. I got it in like 16 big blinds with 5s versus 6s. I hit a 5. Some guy jams for 10 big blinds. I'm in the small blind with 8s. I ISO jam 22 big blinds. The big blind works up with kings, and I hit an 8. Like, it's just, it was unbelievable. I got it in bad probably 5 times and found a way to win every time.
What place did you get?
So it was on TV, and they didn't want us to say that we did a deal. But 3-handed, we did a deal. I got paid more than what Hindenmob says, and I got 350K.
Oh, so sick.
And I finished second. And heads up, I think we were playing for like 5K or something. And on TV, like, we're just putting the money in over and over, and it looks like we're just nuts.
Looking around.
Because it looks like we're playing for 200K or something when we're really playing for 5K.
So, David, what year was that?
That was whatever the beginning is. I think 2016, right?
And what was the score? How much? Because I can't find it.
Oh, I just saw it on there. It was like 330 or something. There you go. He said he chopped 3 ways for more.
I got it.
I got like 350.
I told one of my best buddies if we ever got deep in something and it was like televised and we are like heads up or something, that obviously we'd chop and it would be off camera or whatever, but we would play like a 40-minute long hand, like where the turn gets like 36 raises in, and we would just try and make some kind of like wild hand happen. Yeah.
Something crazy. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, I pulled it up right here. It's
Wait, 8th place, unknown player?
Oh, good for him. He deserves it.
Yeah, unknown player.
He's been on a downswing lately.
First is Jacob Baisley, whoever that is. Your second, 330. Joshua Gibson. I don't know. Marvin Rettenmeyer. I know that guy. Oh, Jessica Dolly, too. 6 for 110K.
It's so cool. You fired a lot of satellites and bricked them all. I'm a fan of satellites, too. And then you still just jumped in and had this disgustingly good run. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was kind of sick, man. It was really sick. So after that, it was like, okay, I'm kind of done with poker, right? And I was done, completely done. I wasn't gonna play any more poker. I was gonna just money's going in the safe.
Quit on top.
Coming out. Yeah, it's never coming out. But I looked and I was like second or third in the Player of the Year, and I saw what they get for Player of the Year. It was like 50K basically. I was like, you know what? I think I kind of have to go for that. So then I started playing the Hard Rock series and stuff. And I think I cashed a few more, but I kind of found a loophole in the scoring system that they would just give you points for buying in. So towards the end, yeah, I had money and I wasn't just like throwing money at it, but towards the end, I knew that I could kind of just bust and buy in a few times, and I would lock it up. So that's what I did. Like towards the end, I was like going all in blind and stuff, and almost trying to bust or build a huge stack. And I think I busted like 3 times, bought in 3 times, bought in 4 times total, and boom, won player of the year.
Okay, at this point, you got second in this, and you scored 330K. What kind of studying were you doing back at that time? Were you just naturally gifted, or were you doing any studying?
I mean, I had everything that I had from before, from playing online, small stakes, tournaments, stuff like that. But when I came back, it's like everybody's doing different stuff. So I'm just figuring it out on the fly. Like all the sizings are different, all the meta is different. So I basically just came up with my own concepts, and that's what I went with. And it.
Okay, let's dive deep for the audience, because we're being like general. So tell us, what sizing were you using, what was working and what wasn't working, what studying, were you doing any studying or just figuring out things at the table?
I mean, zero study. I mean, this is literally the third tournament I played. I was like 2 weeks into my comeback, so zero study, nothing at all.
So objectively, like pretty unprepared for this, but it's still
extremely unprepared.
Yeah.
I just went in there just I don't know,
winging it.
It's
probably why you're so good at mixed games too. I mean, you have this seemingly impressive gift to do well on the fly.
Just figure it out. Yeah. So a lot of situations would come up, and I would just figure out what I think the best play is, and it all just I had to rely on like hand reading. Okay, this guy, open this hand, and I put him on these type of ranges of hands, and so I just figuring the stuff out, not even really knowing like much of anything really.
You're naturally gifted. Tell me one thing, like your presence you have presence at the table, 100%. When you get in that zone, it's pretty intense. What mental game, what preparation are you to get in that zone? What are you doing off the tables at that point? Because the first time I've had an experience with you. Zero preparation. That's sick.
Yeah.
First time with you, and it was eye-opening. I was playing in Tampa against the Fish, and they never did anything unorthodox. I remember a hand against you the first time I played against you, and I heard about you, that you were crushing tournaments, this and that. I was just dabbling. This is when I first started dabbling tournaments in like 2016. There was a multi-day event in Tampa, and you played a hand very unorthodox. It was pocket queens, multi-way. You just called pre. You just flatted pre. For this hand to stick in my memory, it had to be special. So you flatted pre, and it went multi-way. I think 4 ways, 10 high flop, it checked around, turn, somebody bet, you just called. Like, I'm never putting you on queens there. And then I remember it was like three-way on the river, and you bet for value. I called and you show me queens. I'm like, what just happened? Because I'm used to the fish, when they have queens, kings, aces, they're bloating the pot pre-flop. They're playing it like straightforward right out of the gate. You're here with queens in a multi-way pot, and you never showed strength, and you go for value on the river. It was like, whoa, this guy is like next level. I remember that hand very clearly. So this is insane to me, that no study, no preparation. You just go in there and just figure things out on the fly. You're like a version of Jeremy Becker, basically. Nothing off the tables, everything on the table, and you're crushing these guys.
I do stuff now off the table.
So tell us, when did the studying begin, and when did you think you need to study? At what point, what year?
When I started, decided I was going to play a pretty good amount of poker, I started to study a bit, watch training videos and all that stuff. And then I had a regression. Like, I went probably 8 months to where I just wasn't figuring things out the way I was before, because I was trying to use all these different things that I didn't understand fully. And so
what year was that, just to put it in context?
Probably 2018. I think 2018.
So 2018, things weren't clicking.
Yeah, they weren't really clicking. I think
that's how it works a lot of times when you start piecing new concepts together, because you already have like a strategy for how you play, and it's kind of worked, and it's like a house that you built. And then when you start learning new stuff, you're like putting new groundwork down, but there's no roof, there's no second story.
There's another factor.
Subcontractors doing everything.
There's
I don't know what's going on.
There's the factor of variance too. You don't factor that in. When things are going your way, you're doing all the, you're making all the right decisions, making all the right moves, and variance is on your side. You don't think you need to study. You don't need to think to doing anything extra. But when things aren't going your way, you start questioning everything, and you'll be like, oh, maybe I need to study, or maybe I need to improve here. This is when you start questioning things. So 2018 comes and you hit a little bump in the road. So how do you adjust?
I don't know. I just kind of went back to what I do best, and that's when I started playing mixed games more too. I just went back to my bread and butter, just PLO, mixed games, not trying to play much Hold'em. But yeah, it's I pretty much had to dial it back and say, let me just do what I do. And when I'm at the table, I take so many things into, and I factor so many things in, and just looking at the way people want you to play hands is not the only thing. You know what I mean? It's like you said, that queen's hand. Who knows? I might have flatted that because there was a certain stack behind me that was doing something weird, or who knows why I did that. But there was probably a reason. And a lot of the things I pull from my poker game, it's all about observation and trying to predict what people are going to do before they do it a lot of times.
I'm pretty familiar with what studying Hold'em looks like, and I think maybe a lot of our viewers are. What does studying a mixed game kind of look like? How do you get better at deuce to seven triple draw or something?
Deuce seven triple draw in particular. I think I watched a couple of videos on it. One of them was by Stephen Chidwick, actually. Okay. It's just about what hands you want to 3-bet. Overall strategy about getting heads up with certain hands.
So there's still ranges you have to kind of work on, just like Hold'em, but just kind of in a different category of matrix.
Yeah, pretty much. You still have a hand strength. How do you say it?
Ranking or whatever. Yeah.
Some
are strong, some multi-way, some don't.
Yeah, a certain hand in deuce of seven, you would 3-bet would just be 3-betting king queen suited or something. It's things like that.
So you watch videos and that's kind of they probably, do they have solvers for a mixed game for stud high low or
if they do,
that's a good question. Do
I
they?
didn't look that up.
I don't think they do. I'm not. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
My study in mixed games has been looking at equities and just watching a few videos. That's pretty much it. Everything else is just self-taught, really.
Hold'em kind of ends up being you have to piece together what you think they could possibly have in this scenario, and then kind of get to the equities afterwards, kind of so build the range. Does that happen much in a mixed game where you're oh, he has to do this with a 4 high hand in order for this to break even, or is it kind of just like nobody does this creative stuff, so everyone's kind of just playing more face up and standard?
No, there's things like that. Like basically, it's like what percentage of the time this guy bluffing,
okay,
and like how high is my bluff catcher up in that range, you know? And if it's too low in the range, how often is my range going to work? You know, things like that.
Okay.
It's just basically a lot of trying to figure out the frequencies of when they're bluffing and when you need
player
to bluff.
Types, who's really trying to like fight for it and who like isn't at all.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Let's talk bankroll management a little bit, and we're gonna see a hand history that you played on in Hollywood. But any secrets as far as bankroll? How good are you with money management?
I've gone through phases where I've been better with money and worse with money. But when I won a lot early on, I had people, hey, let me buy your action, or people wanted to stake me and things like that. So I always had that to fall back on. So I can take shots. I can put a lot of my bankroll on the line. You know what I mean? Because I don't have to worry about really going broke because I can always stay in action. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I can take a couple more shots than some other people. You know.
Let's break it down in layman's terms for the audience, the people that never sold action. Break down how selling action works. The markup, explain markup and everything selling action.
Okay. So I usually try to sell like 50% of myself for a poker series. Like the World Series this year, I'll sell 50% of myself. 1 second. And basically, if you're selling 50% of yourself, half of the money is put up by investors. And the way you benefit from that as a player is you charge a markup. So if someone wants 10% of you and you're going to buy into a $10,000 tournament and you want to sell at 1.1 markup, you'll mark it up 10%. So 50% you would sell for 5,500. My math right? Yes, I think so.
Yes. Yeah.
So you'd pocket that $500. That's your fee basically for making them money or making them equity. And people usually when they buy action, it's usually for a series of tournaments, and like they'll buy 10% of $50,000 package for $5,000. You mark it up 1.2, which is 20%. So they'll pay a premium on that. And if you're good enough to you're better than a 20% favorite, or you'll have better than 20% return, they're making money on that. If you're not, like some people I see selling action sometimes, people are long-term losing money. So yeah, that's how that works generally.
I see you have your WSOP schedule on Facebook, so I kind of looked through it. Looks like the buy-ins range from like 600 to like 2,500 or so, and they're just all mixed games. So you don't really dabble much in Hold'em at all anymore. It's Omaha, Badoogie, PLO, Triple Draw, Horse, Raz.
Yeah, I really try not to. The World Series is really the only time where you're going to see mixed games and prize pools that are big. So it's the best time of the year to play the mixed games. And I feel like that's where my biggest edge is. And
yeah, there's no like $1,500 Raz tournament coming out of Florida. That's not a thing.
No, there's a $400 Raz that's going to get 38 players. And
yeah,
you're never going to make money playing those, really. You're going to play those for fun, or if you have no other option. So yeah, the WSOP is the only time really you can play for any significant amount of money, and I've always done well. So yeah, just try to stick to the mixed games when it comes to the WSOP, and it's the best chance to win a bracelet, which is what I really go after.
The hunt.
This is the package right here, 64K at 1.25, 80K total with the markup. Pretty interesting.
Do you have like an estimated ROI in these games, like a number you think you're winning at? It's really hard to like get a real number in tournaments. I just didn't know.
That's a good question.
In mixed games.
My personal ROI, I don't think I've ever calculated, but I'll say every year I go to the WSOP, I spend probably 50K in buy-ins ish. Maybe 50, about 50K in buy-ins, and I don't think I've ever cashed for less than 100K. So,
oh, nice.
That's awesome. Last year I had like 300K. Year before that, I played 7 tournaments, and I think I cashed for around 200K. So, yeah, I pretty much would say, yeah, the ROI and those things are a lot better than Hold'em, especially because the fields are a lot smaller too. So
Yeah.
you're not.
You can realize it.
You can realize. You can fade the variance a lot in those things.
100%. By the way, one of your investors is gonna come on later and ask you a few questions. Danny Lobato.
Oh, okay.
But let's watch this hand and walk us through the thought process here. It's 3-handed final table, WPT in Hollywood, live streamed RFID table, so we can see the whole cards.
Okay.
Let's watch the hand, and you can walk us through the thought process. You limp button here. Here, let's see it.
Names of Lakers players that I might know.
Okay.
Of.
So for
Shaquille
context,
Yes.
One time.
this is
He played for the
my
Lakers, well done,
my third live tournament ever.
Mhm.
My third, or maybe fourth, but my third from since I had been back playing. So it's probably my third tournament. I've gotten this deep, and I'm probably scared out of my mind. I'm taking like 3x the time I would these days. And this hand came up. I limped the button because Baisley had 3-bet me probably 60% of the time when I open, right? And I don't want to get 3-bet with this hand, Jack 7, right? Well, I had Jack 7 off. Yeah, I don't want to get 3-bet. And to be honest, we're playing 3-handed for 5K.
Okay,
We've already made a deal. Yeah,
Okay.
we've already made a deal. So this is just basically for 5K and the trophy. So yeah, I limped this hand. I don't want to get 3-bet. And it goes complete, and then Gibson checks.
Right, 3-way to the flop. We don't have the stack sizes here, by the way. You flop 2 pair.
Middle pair and a king kicker. Baisley with backdoor hearts and a gut shot.
Yeah. So check to me. I bet.
I'm curious to see your bet size here, by the way, because this is before solvers, before.
So 800K. I probably bet like 300K.
Yeah, you bet like half.
So Baisley gets out of the way.
And I think because there are several draws on this flop, Gibson is going.
By the way, just to put it in context, back in those days, half pot was the thing. There was no such thing as third pot on the flop. It was half pot on every street.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot bigger on flops.
Yes.
Flop betting has gotten a
to
lot
call
smaller.
once at least. Pair.
These days, actually, on this dynamic
also
flop, you'd probably want to bet on the bigger side.
Correct.
Handed. Pair of 9s on a Jack 9-7 board is pretty good.
Yeah, there's no reason to fold at this point in time.
Blank
Yeah,
on the turn.
Probably standard
Pot is
check call by
1.2
him.
million.
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah,
matched with
that's-
these two, did you feel like they were like better poker players than you, or do you feel like you had edge on them coming in as like your third tournament back?
I mean, Jake. I know Jake has played
Prociak
a
on the-
lot. He had Jared Jaffe railing him, and the Massey brothers railing him, and I know he had played a lot. He's been in this spot before. He was pretty tough.
Okay.
That's a good question, Shane. I was going to
And-
say, is he accomplished or not? But
And Josh is. I'd played with him like 12 hours, like the previous day and the day before. Like we were at the same table for a while, and then the day before we were at the same table for a long time. And he was a complete maniac. Like he was nuts. I saw him get in like 60 big blinds with King Queen suited one time.
He's the guy in the small blind in this
And
hand.
he was good. Yeah, and he was good. His hand was good.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
by the way, your table presence here, it looks like you're a veteran. Like you've been
Yeah,
doing
you seem
this for a
super
long.
comfy.
Super.
Yeah, I was trying to be very stoic. I was trying to take my time and really, because at this time, you gotta remember, I really have to think about all these things a lot because I haven't been in these spots. I haven't played poker in forever. So I'm just taking my time, really thinking through every spot. They even made a comment on the stream, like how I was like the super tanking guy. Like I was like, what's that guy's name? Christoph Vogelsang. I was Vogelsang before him. Like I was like super tanking. But I was really thinking. I wasn't like doing it for balance or anything. Like I was really thinking about what to do
Options.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this spot, I bet he raises me, and
then what
he
is
raised
the
King
value
9.
raised?
yeah, he raised here.
Okay.
Like I said, he was getting way out of line for days. So I knew this was like something he could do with nothing, basically. You know, maybe a gut shot. He could do it with a gut shot. He could do
great
anything.
spot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if he's giving off any tells here. Like, he looks uncomfortable, if you can see. His mouth is that's not a mouth of somebody that's that has a big hand.
I think at this time I really wasn't looking at a lot of tells. I mean, these days it's a huge part of my game, but
We're gonna
these days
talk about this. We're gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
And here, Bink on the river.
Prociak is going to call there on the turn. And now he fills up on the river. And Gibson's wondering now, okay, well, did he call because he had a draw? Because now it kind of looks like his 9s and 7s might be good because the diamond didn't come in. No gut shot straight draws came in. So, or open-ended straight draws.
Yeah. So in my mind right
Now
now, it's
Gibson-
like the way I think about poker is like, okay, so he showed a lot of strength, right? So he could have a flop straight. But if he doesn't have anything, he's probably just going to fold. So I'm just going to target like the best parts of his range. I'm just going to bomb it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you go bigger too. But
Yeah, I really don't. I
like a
really
huge
don't
bet.
expect him to have a 9. I expect him to have like a jack a lot of the time or a straight a lot of the time.
See, the jack is not taking that line. It's not going check, call, flop, and then raising turn. Raising turn, like what did the 4 improve? The 4 doesn't do much unless he like flopped a straight or flop 2 pair, which you have 2 pair. Sets, you're blocking. He can't have jacks.
Mhm.
You're blocking 7s. The only hand that he could
You
represent
have jack 9, jack
10-8,
9,
10-8.
jack 9, 10-8.
That's
Yeah,
about
jack
it.
9, 10-8.
Like,
Yeah, so that's why I went so big because he has a lot of those strong hands.
Yeah, I think
it
this
turns
comes to
out.
like bite him in the ass with his strategy here because like his ranges shouldn't be constructed like this, right? Like when he check raises his turn, he kind of should have what you said, like a 10x, like a garbage ass hand, like maybe like 10-6 of like hearts or something.
this
or
guy's
like,
not built, but back in
2-pair
those
plus.
days, they weren't built like that, Shane.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
so
I'm saying
when
that's the
he
difference.
checks river, when he takes the check raise line and he checks river,
Yeah.
it seems like way more likely he has a straight or jack 9.
Oh, you think? I
Way
would say
more
he's
likely.
like nothing, like always.
I think nothing. This guy in particular, nothing. He's just gonna
He
bet
just
the river.
fires. I
Yeah.
got you.
So he has something, and now it's like, okay, what's something that check called and check raised? One of those
Gotcha.
big hands. So these days, I probably would just over.
Oh, any heroes? Wow.
Yeah, he heroes.
But we're playing for $5,000. He's already gotten paid. This guy he's
Yeah,
sailing
yeah.
off into the sunset. Like it doesn't matter to him, you know.
You mentioned the live tells. You were like, I wasn't looking for live tells. First of all, the angle where he was sitting, it's kind of hard unless you like turn, and which some of the Europeans do it. Even if you're sitting to their side, they will like stare at you, which makes it more awkward than somebody sitting across from you. But let's talk live tells a little bit. How much did you use them back then, and how much you use them today? And if you can give us one secret tell that works for you, if you want to share here with the audience.
I think back then. I was just worried more about not giving off anything. I thought everybody was a super pro, and I'm just going to get read like a book. I was like, I'm not going to give off anything. Now these days, it's like, okay, let me try and figure things out for myself. But yeah, I mean, everything to me is like every little bit of information adds up. So let's say I open and some guy from the big blind calls really quick, and then later on he starts representing a hand. And I think, oh, that hand wouldn't have called really quick. He would have thought about 3-betting, you know, little things like that all add up, you know. So just every little thing I try to pull in, you know. And if I could say like one tell, oh my God, I have so many on oh, man.
Just give us one.
I'll give you one. Okay, so in mostly PLO, this comes up a lot where you bet flop, somebody calls, and then they check, you bet again on the turn, they call even quicker, like super quick. It's usually because they picked up additional equity, right? So they check called and then they pick up this additional equity, and I mean the speed of their call is like super fast. So that is definitely one that I use a lot, putting on people on. And I can really narrow the range down because I know, okay, they picked up equity with this card. What type of hands are going to pick up equity with this card? and then I can really just
But
figure
David,
out a lot more
this is
things.
not a live tell. I'm talking like a live tell, like something physical, as far as like pulse,
Oh,
hand, feet,
I think this is kind of a live
eyes,
tell. How
like
quick
a live.
they.
It's
I-
something.
Okay.
Something you can.
So
put
you're
your
saying like something like purely physical.
purely physical, yeah, live tell, yeah, not like something from bet sizing. I'm talking like live tell or something you look at, whether it's pulse.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. In that tournament we were just looking at, there was like 12 players left, and I 3-bet this guy with like tens, and he went all in, and I literally could see his pulse just jumping out of his body, and I was like, oh, he's scared, he's weak. I call, and he showed me like 2 kings or something. I was like, oh, he was actually really scared because he knew he had a big hand. Like he was just like his adrenaline was pumping. So
I super agree with that one.
I really mangled that one. Like I
That's
really
the thing. The thing is, people don't know how to interpret a high pulse. And I've made mistakes like this, and now I know that it could mean either or. It depends on the person. Like you could be nervous and your pulse is elevated, or you could be happy and your pulse is elevated. The thing is, if it stays elevated, it's you're nervous because you can't. This is something you can't control. Fear you can't control. But happiness, like when you're happy that you're in a big hand, your pulse elevates in the beginning, and then you can control it, and it calms down. So if you go in the tank for like 30 seconds, and that pulse goes down, that's a sign of a big hand. So not all pulse is equal. So not just because somebody's pulse is elevated means they're bluffing or they're happy. It could be either or. So you have to interpret which one it is, whether it's fear. The mouth gives off a lot of tells too. The lower lip. A lot of the times, the eyes, where they're looking, how uncomfortable they are, especially if they sit back, they take a drink. Everything can be interpreted into something. The take a drink normally is a sign of strength. It's almost like they're telling you, like, my job is done here. I'm so.
Someone guy bets the river and just reaches back for his drink. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, or when they sit back and like fold their arms. So when they go like this, it's almost like they're telling you, like, my job is done. I don't care what you do. So if somebody is looking at you straight, it's funny that I asked you a question and I'm answering the question.
No.
I've done some work on live tells. When somebody's looking at you, so when they're really curious of what you're doing with your chips, it's a sign of weakness, because when they have a strong hand, they don't care what you do. Their job is done. They did the big bet, and they don't care what you. So when they look away, like the Mike Carroll Book of Tells, they have illustrations in the book of players when they do a big bet and they look away because they don't care about your action. So as far as you're concerned, what's one live tell that's like you nail it down? Like when they do that thing, it's either strong or weak. Do you have that one signature tell or no?
There's one that I'm thinking of that I don't really want to share, but
oh shit,
there's one that I think the Gulp really gets it for me.
I do a reverse tell with the Gulp, by the way.
I do it too. But if they do it while like I'm tanking, I'm like, okay. But if they do it like right before they're about to bluff or right before they're about to bet, that I feel like that's more real.
Big gulp in the throat is what you guys are talking about?
Yeah. When you can see their Adam's apple just move up.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they're tanky and they do it, I'm like, oh, that guy, it looks like it might be fake.
You know what? Since you mentioned this, I'm going to pull up a video here in a second of the famous hand between Fedor Holtz. This is when Fedor just came on the scene and he was crushing everything. Him and the Indian kid that was wearing green in the WSOP. Negrano was at the table, and Negrano goes, Robbie, clock. And he calls the clock on the Indian kid that was the Silva. Yes, okay. The Silva. And Fedor bluffs the river. And if you look at Fedor's Adam's apple, he was gulping, and you can see it clearly. And he was nervous, like you can tell. He went all in on a one card straight on the river, and the Silva tank calls. But
worse than a straight?
The Silva had top pair. He had ace king. He 3-bet Fedor.
Worse than a straight.
I think I kind of remember that hand.
I'll pull it up in a second. But so the one tell is the Adam's apple, and you said there's one that you don't want to share?
There's a couple that I think I'm going to keep to myself. Yeah.
I could share one that I had success with in Cherokee last time I visited. But it was I remember one time, this is like a year ago, where a reg like 3-bet me. So it was kind of like reg battles, and they did it a couple times. And I remember like, okay, I'm gonna adjust. I'm gonna like mix some 4-bets in, and then like he 3-bets me again, and I ended up like 4-betting quick, like I like just jammed on him or something with a hand that's like totally fine to jam with. But I remember like how quick I did it. No, actually, I was out of line. I think I had like an offsuit, like ace-7 off as like a 4-bet jam. I was out of line, but I remember I did it quick, and he goes into the tank, and then during his whole tank, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done it like that quick. Like I look like I'm tilted. So I remember like taking note of this, and then I get to Cherokee, and it was like a 6-max $400. I get moved to a new table. There's a young kid on my right who looks like Jason Kuhn, like wearing a sports jacket, like a hat, looking serious. And I 3-bet him once right when I got to the table. He opened his button. I 3-bet the small blind. We played a hand. Next orbit, he opens his button again, and I 3-bet him again. So I hit him twice in a row. This time
instantly shipped on you.
He 4-bet like in like 4 seconds, like real quick, just like boom. But we're 60 bigs deep. So he opens to 2. I make it like 8.5. And then he made it like 26, 27 big blinds, like too big. And I was like, oh, he's doing what I did. He went too quick. And I'm like, I think he's like out of line here. So with ace queen, I jammed for like 63 big. So I 5-bet jammed on him. And a spot, I'm not taking this that often, but I think he did what I did before. And he ended up like tanking for a while. I was actually really annoyed because he goes, oh, I think I put too much out there. I think I have to call off. And I'm like, don't fucking call off. Like, what are you? If you call me off with like 10 jack right now, I'm gonna be mad. Like, I don't want to do like.
You're the best hand, man. You want all the chips. You gotta try and get all the chips.
But it's like a fake flip that I don't have to do. But anyways, he called off the 5-bet jam with he had ace-8 suited, just because he like put too many chips out. And then I just flopped a queen and then got second in the tournament.
You 5-bet? What a maniac! This is the hand, by the way.
That's one thing that I try to do is play big pots. Like, I'm trying to get all the freaking chips, man. I tell people all the time, like, okay, you're gonna play this pot for like, you're gonna put in 50 big blinds. Who cares if you have the best hand or not? Once you get that big stack, you're gonna win a lot of the time. Like, you're just gonna dominate.
Yeah, there's big juice to be squeezed when you have chips in front of you.
Oh yeah, that's when I'm at my best. I just get a chip stack and I can really leverage it.
Fedor looks young here.
He was young. This is the hand on the river here. So Silva 3-bets, ace king pre-flop. Flop is ace jack 8. Silva c-bets. Fedor calls with the 8. Turn is a queen.
Lead.
Fedor check raises turn. And goes for the all-in on the river. Silva checks river, and Fedor sends it. And this is Silva in the tank. Watch Fedor's Adam's apple going crazy here, and he looks very uncomfortable.
It's going one. I just wait. Oh, is it the 10K main, day 5? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I had a hand in the short deck I played this last summer where the only hand that would make sense for this guy is like one combo or like 2 combos of a hand. I check and he jammed, but he did the Adam's apple thing. And
look at Fedor's Adam's apple here. Look at it right here.
Yeah.
You see it how it's going nuts?
Yeah. Yeah, I just put so much stock in that Adam's apple thing. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna call this guy. Like, all the theory probably says I'm supposed to just fold, but I was like, I'm just so confident in this tell, and this guy just seems way out of line, and I was right. And
look at the Adam's apple. You see it?
Yeah, I'm talking more of a hard swallow though. Like,
it doesn't look too bad.
Lifts up. Like, if I see a hard swallow, I think okay.
Yeah, there's probably some kind of biology there, right? Where like your glands like swell up or something when you're under like extreme pressure or something, like, right? There's got to be some science.
I don't think the Adam apple swells up when you're nervous. It's basically the parasympathetic. Then your nervous system is going nuts. Adrenaline gets pumped in the blood, and your heart races. It's the fight or flight response. It's a natural response that you can't control much. When it's fear, like when it's bluff. I mean, Fedor is doing a great job considering like he's not hiding his face. Look, like this is not a mouth of somebody that's comfortable. This is somebody very uncomfortable because he tanks for a long time. This is when Negreanu calls the clock on him, by the way. He calls the clock.
If you ever see me playing, I usually have a tech fleece and it's zipped up to here. You can't see this.
Yeah.
I hate showing this. I always want to keep my neck covered up. And I don't want to do it in a way where I'm wearing a scarf and all this stuff. I want to do it in a way where it looks kind of natural. So I wear like usually a tech fleece that just zips up to here.
Yeah, I think it's a clean way to do it. I like having hoodies that kind of go up there too. Yeah.
Vogel's saying it has to be a professional eye looking at it, not just anybody. Some people here, he calls, he sends it.
I think Fedor played this hand pretty well.
Yep, he calls. So tells there's one you're not gonna share. You're like a second version of Jeremy Becker. He had one that he didn't want to share also.
What if it's the same one?
I have one that's so good. So I'll tell one that I have like on a particular person. It's on Tony G. I know when he's checking to trap. I know when he's checking and
just
giving
weak
up. Yeah. I know when he's weak. Yeah. That's one that I've seen, and I discovered it like I think a friend of mine like put me on like, hey, look at this, what he's doing when he's weak, and look what he's doing when he's strong. I'm like, oh wow. So I started looking for that one in other people. And what Tony G does is, should I even tell this? This is pretty bad.
Let's pull up Tony G. Shout out to
We're not going to play with Tony G.
He's a beast.
No, I just feel like it's bad if I just tell this like concrete tell on him.
Why not?
I'm not going to do it, but it's how he checks. So if anybody wants to investigate how he checks when he's strong and how he checks when he's weak, y'all can do it. But yeah, that's one. And there's one I have with someone I play against a lot. And I will share this one. Okay, so on the river, you kind of give somebody an indication of what you're going to do, right? Say they bet, and you kind of give them an indication that you're just not folding. If they try to change your mind with something physical or even with talking, if they try to change your mind, they want you to fold, right? If you're going to call for sure, they want you to fold. They're going to try and change your mind in some way.
Are you saying them being verbal?
It could be verbal or it could be physical. Yeah.
So
like if you say
what is something like what is something
you say, hey, there's no way I can fold. There's no way I can let this hand go, right? It's 0% chance I'll let this go. The guy thinks you're gonna call, he might pick up his cards like he's about to turn over his hand. Because now he's letting you know, like, I'm gonna show this hand. You know, he wants you not to call, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to change your mind with his action. So that's something I look for a lot. I give somebody a clear indication what I'm going to do and see if they try to change my mind. Some people are just completely stoic. They do nothing. But some people, like, if they think they're savvy, especially a player who thinks they're savvy, like they think they're like a tabletop person, you know? They'll try to do something.
How do you interpret somebody when they pick up their cards? Like when you're tanking, they pick up their cards and act like they're folding. I interpret it. I'll tell you how I interpret it, but let me hear your perspective on it.
So like it's on you and you haven't done anything yet. And
so let's say I move all in, and it's on you. You're tanking, and I pick up my cards and I act like I'm gonna fold. You know, mostly like old timers do it.
Like you're trying to end the hand.
You're taking too long, so they pick up their cards and they act like they're folding, like they go like this, like they fake it, like they're about to fold. I always say like, oh, you're gonna fold your hand, but they're all in. Like I'm being sarcastic. But how do you interpret it? Strong or weak?
Okay, so they went all in, and you're thinking
they went all in.
You're thinking
you're in the tank.
Yeah.
They pick up their cards and they act like they're about to fold, like they almost like sending you a message that you're taking too long and they're about to fold their hand, like basically saying like just fold.
I think if you haven't given any indication what you're going to do and you're just tanking, they probably this is me just figuring it out, right? They probably want you. They probably want you to call. They're probably just trying to act like
yeah.
weak.
It's always strong. It's always strong.
When someone tries to interact with you, like if they feel comfortable enough to interact with you, especially doing something like that, they feel pretty damn comfortable if they're gonna do something like that because they're giving something away. You know, in
That's
a way.
exactly what I was gonna say. When they act cute. And if they're bluffing, they don't have the nerve to say anything or do anything. They don't want to attract any attention. When they're attracting attention to them and they're comfortable enough to take any action, whether it's like folding, trying to act like they're about to fold, any of this is a sign of strength. It's they have it, they're comfortable, and they don't care. They're just comfortable. When their mind isn't thinking please fold, please fold, please fold. Their mind's thinking about whatever, you know.
They're just like they're doing stuff, you know.
You guys gotta find me. You gotta find me the old guy who's bluff jamming rivers. I haven't found this guy yet.
Oh no, this isn't the old guy. This is the guy who has like wear a gold chain on and stuff.
Oh, okay.
No.
Let's watch your boy Tony G.
I'm happy to be so bad. Phil deserved that.
He said it's in his checking.
Tony, can you please shut up? Explosion's about to happen.
Bring the trike.
Hi, everybody.
Tony G and Phil are
the
best
He's
interactions.
Joe Stapleton. I'm Chris Rose, and I can
Shout out
guarantee
to
you
Joe
one
Stapleton.
thing.
I wish I can. I'm gonna get Joe Stapleton on the podcast.
But since his hand really isn't made yet, I bet this size is intended to try to get Phil to fold rather than to extract value.
Tony's raising second pair.
Checks him again. Yep, still nines.
Staring right at him, but he's bluffing.
So Tony is weak here.
What are you feeling?
I mean,
Phil?
Phil's a net. He's just folding pure.
Poking the poker brat.
How old is this? This is probably over 10 years old, right?
Yeah, Phil looked kind of lean here.
Yeah, this is the big game when they used to have like one amateur. They win like some contest or something. They have them on the show, and they play against a bunch of pros, and whatever cash they win, they keep.
It looks like the whole table knows that Tony G's bluffing Phil. Like they're all smiling.
Look, Tony is barely can breathe here. His pulse is so elevated.
What do you need?
You know what I need? It's a queen of clubs on the river. Check by Helmuth.
So look at Tony here. How do you interpret it? Strong or weak? Without being biased, like knowing the cards. Like just from body language. Look how he's hunched over. Normally when people bluff, they have like forced physical tells. Everything is like tense. They're not comfortable. Let's see how...
Okay. Check by Tony G.
He just gave up. Okay.
That's good.
He doesn't lose with that hand. That's the Helmuth special. The sick thing is I was rooting for him about 25.
Nines against the loose cannon Ernest Wiggins. Only to lose 2 of the first 3 runs. We pick it up with run number 4. A queen
Actually,
on the turn.
I know about this hand. Helmuth
What do you know?
loses like 3 out of 4 runouts.
Helmuth. This is Helmuth against Wiggins.
Oh, yeah.
He loses 3 runouts.
The
Yeah, they
final
run it
river
3
card.
times.
This is crazy. I've seen this hand.
It's a
before.
king.
Look how
So they get it all
everybody's-
in on 9-9-10, and Helmuth has ace-9, and he loses 3 out of 4.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
it's sick. And everybody's cheering. Like everybody wants to rub it in Helmuth's face.
This is bad. This means like if you're Phil, that means you're like terrible for the game. Like everyone's rooting against you.
I've played with Helmuth like a handful of times, and I will say this: like, it doesn't seem like he's doing much at the table, but he's just chipping up a lot. Like, I think I was playing some mixed tournament with him, and he didn't go to showdown very often, and he was just. I look over, he just has more chips than I do. He's like chipping up, and he's not. It seems like he wasn't like doing anything crazy or like special, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But just building a mound of chips, and it was a really good table. It was a bunch of.
You're like, when did you even play a hand? How
table.
are you building?
Yeah, he really wasn't doing much. It was just like, wow, he just wasn't giving it away, and he was just taking every time.
Let's go back to the questions, David. What advice do you give to somebody like an amateur player right now getting into tournaments, whether it's Hold'em or mixed games? Like they want to play professionally. What's a solid advice?
I wrote a note on this. I'm trying to find it.
Take your time.
All right. Let's see. Look at. Okay, so basically, I would just tell him like, hey, have a job, have a source of income before you start playing, because you basically want to have a cushion so you can actually play without worrying about losing all your money. But I think everybody kind of needs like a big breakthrough cash or a big breakthrough cash session or something to get them going.
Agree.
One of our viewers, Joshua, kind of talked about it because we talk about Bankroll on this channel, and he's just like, I like to play the $1,700 buy-ins, but I don't have 170 grand or 300 grand. But he has a job. I mean, once you have like a job and solid income, you can play whatever tournament you want because you have money coming in. Yeah,
exactly. I think it's really good for taking shots and playing outside of your poker bankroll. Say you have a 20K bankroll and you want to play a 3K or something, you're not supposed to. But if you have an income job, you can afford to go outside your bankroll. You don't have to play 3Ks all the time, but yeah, if it's a good tournament and got a big prize pool and you feel like you have an edge in it, then you can do it.
There was a Chance Corner video not too long ago where it was like a podcast where they asked him kind of like how he started building his roll, and he said he would just play a lot of cash games in order to fund his tournaments. And he would like eventually built up like $1 million and then like lost 900K of it back down to like 100K, and then just went back to playing like his bread and butter, his cash games to play the tournaments. So there's like different ways to do it for sure.
Yeah, I think cash games really are the way to build.
It's almost like the job, the steady income.
Yeah, I think because it's much lower variance in my opinion, and you can win 70% of the time, like 60-70% of the time you can have a winning session, and when you go and play a tournament you're going to lose, I don't know, what do you think people lose, 80% of the time?
Yeah. In tournaments, Shane, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're an average player, you're going to cash, I'm talking like big sample, 12 to 14% if you're not a crusher, and if you're a crusher on the high end it's like 24 to 27%. So two out of 10 you're going to be cashing.
Yeah, I got like online crusher friends who cash like 18% of tournaments. Yeah.
Over my whole career almost, or actually since like 2019, I think I'm cashing at Danny Lobato's trying to get on, by the way. He can't figure out the settings on his computer.
Even if you're like a super like I don't know who's watching. I know we have a lot of like Tampa players, Tampa dealers. Maybe they just have like 3K to their name, 4K to their name or something. But if you have a job, or even if you can like pick up like DoorDash and make a couple hundred here and there, just having some kind of money coming in while you play like a 1-2 game or like take a shot at 2-5 it's gonna make your life way easier than having like just 4K and just trying to play poker. That's close to impossible.
Only poker in the beginning. It just seems like an uphill battle that you're just not gonna win very often. But I got very lucky in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But I had a source of income. If I went to Tampa that day and I lost that 500, and I went back and lost another 500, I was okay,
What was the job at the time?
Oh, I had a business. So after Black Friday, I started an online retail business. I was selling shoes and clothing and stuff, and it kind of came out on accident. Like I was dead broke, and I had to like sell off these shoes and my shoe collection. And I was like, man, like I bought these for 100 and I just sold them for 250. What the heck?
Let's talk a little bit about this. By the way, my girlfriend is big in shoes, Nike. She wakes up at like 6 in the morning. She used to, not much anymore, to wait for, they drop like sales and stuff. I really
there's like drawings and stuff.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about this. How were you, where were you buying the shoes? And I guess you were selling them online, but where would you get them at, like retail?
So at that time it was there was a forum called Nike Talk, and but now it's been replaced with Facebook groups and stuff. People are on Facebook groups buying and selling and trading these shoes. But I was on this forum and I bought this shoe for $100, and then when Black Friday happened, I put it on eBay, and someone bought it for like $250. I was like, holy crap, like I saw like 10 other pairs on there. So I told my friend, he was like, you know what, like let's do it. Like, here's some money. I didn't have much money at the time. He's like, here's some money, let's buy some shoes. And then started doing it, rinse and repeat. And at the end of the year, we had like $300,000 in sales. Like, we sold that many shoes. It was just, all right, let's make a business out of this. And then we were like number 3 or 4 on all of eBay for shoes.
Okay, question. I thought about doing this, but you know, to make money, you got to sell volume. It's all about volume. So if you're making $100 per shoe, you sell 10 shoes, you make 1,000. You sell 100, you make 10K. So it's all about volume. But those deals on the shoes, it's hard to get because Tasha was getting like 1 or 2 shoes at a time. You can't get volume because they're hard to get. She was
sourcing directly from Nike.
Yes,
they do like a lottery or a drawing.
Correct.
And I wouldn't do that. I would buy used shoes from some kid who outgrew them, or like things like that. Like, or somebody who I had a big following of people who worked at Nike at like the outlet, and they would always see stuff come up, and you know, maybe I had people go pick those shoes up, you know, and stuff like that.
So on average, like per week, how many shoes were you buying?
I was spending about $10,000 a day at about probably roughly $90 a pair. So I was buying, what's the math on that? 100 pairs, like over 100 pairs a day.
Yeah. You were able to access that many shoes per day. How?
And then I had a lot of people who would go out and buy stuff and sell it to me. Like, I'm gonna show you a little thing here. There's
where would you store them? Where would
my
you store
corner of my room over here is like a little studio I set up for photographing shoes. There's actually shoes. There's shoes over here right now. You know.
What is that in the corner? Is that lighting? Do you have professional lighting?
Yeah, that's studio lighting. Yeah, for photography. Yeah.
Are you using any studio lighting now?
No, I just have my my windows kind of open.
Daylight. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Very interesting. So this is your source of income, the online store.
Yeah, this pays all my bills, funds my lifestyle, you know, and then poker is just. Extra. I mean, I could. Yeah, it's just extra. Yeah. So a lot of the money I get from poker, I will put it into the business, because everything I buy to resell, I'm gonna get like 100% return, and I'm gonna double my money. It takes about 3 months to turn over each product, so I'm doubling my money every 3 months, and it's compounding. So to take any money out of that for poker would just be kind of stupid. Because so all this money I get for playing poker, I throw it in the business, and I just keep doing that. So when I sell action, it's like, yeah, I could have all my own action, but I'm probably losing money long term by doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you hedge your risk, of course. That's what selling action is all about. And you're a profitable player, so you would have no problem selling action. I was trying to figure out a title for your podcast, and now it clicked. With the shoes and poker, I'll come up with something smart.
What's it gonna be? Okay.
It's
brewing. It's brewing.
Yeah, it's brewing. Yeah. I'll figure it out tonight. Right. So as far as goals with poker, what are your goals and aspirations? Like, let's say for this year, 2024. Do you set a goal at the beginning of each year, or are you the type of like New Year resolution and that stuff, or no?
No, not really. I mean, when I first started playing, it was like, okay, I have a goal. I'm going to play a big tournament. Oh, I have a goal. I'm going to win a big tournament. Oh, I have a goal. I'm going to win a bracelet. My first WSOP, I was able to do that. So it's like, okay, I want to win more. I just want to win more bracelets, basically. That's probably my only goal.
So bracelet chasing, bracelet hunting.
Pretty much. That's where I put a lot of my effort, is just make sure I try to get there as much time as I can. And I don't play a lot of poker. People think I'm out here grinding all the time. I would play all of the Hard Rock events, right? Mm-hmm. And I would play the WSOP. And maybe I would sprinkle something else in. And then 2019, I decided I was going to try and do well on the WSOP circuit. And I ended up making like whatever, it was top 50, and they get into a free roll. And I did pretty well doing that. And then COVID happened, and I kind of just quit. I stopped going to Hard Rock events. I pretty much did WSOP and some Hard Rock events, like 2 a year, maybe. So all this poker play I've had is like, I really don't play a lot. I see a lot of professionals out there grinding all the time, and they're not cashing and doing as nearly as well as I am. And they're playing every week. They're somewhere else, you know. I'm at home every week. I play a lot of cash games online, but for the most part, like all my tournament results, it's I haven't played much. And if Danny gets on later, he can tell you like he's like pushing sometimes because he buys some of my action, usually 10 or 15%. And you're like, hey man, play. Are you gonna play this day? Are you gonna play this series? And I'm
You
like,
know what?
man.
We were talking about this. We went to dinner, me and him. He's having technical problems. He can't come on for some reason, and I wanted him to come on because you guys have that relationship. But we were at dinner, and he said that about you. He's like, oh, sometimes he set a schedule, but he doesn't commit to it. And I talked to him about it. I said, well, Danny, if the guy is profitable, he's like generating money. Who cares? Like, let him do his thing. Like, don't micromanage him.
Yeah. There was a time I was gonna like when the WPT like championship or something was at the end of last year. I went to that and I was in Vegas the whole time, and I probably played 2 events because the cash games were running every day. All the mixed games were running every day. So I put in 200 hours in the cash games. Like, forget the tournaments. Like, I'm making $160 an hour grinding these cash games or more. Like, I don't want to show up for a tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not worth it if your ROI is like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like you stay fresh doing what you're doing. You just like taking shots, but you're taking calculated shots. Like me and Shane, we're in the trenches every single day. We're playing the low buy-ins.
Can't do it.
I go to Vegas. But I'm grinding like day in and day out. But I'm grinding a lot of small stuff too. I'm not. Shane does a little bit more traveling than I do. I don't like traveling except the Vegas stop. I stay there for a whole month. Let's check a hand. This is an interesting hand. Shout out to Lana. She was at Hard Rock yesterday, and she's like, "Oh, why don't you discuss this hand with David?" So I pulled it up on YouTube. Just walk us through your thought process here in this hand. Against Mateos.
Yeah, I know the hand. This
it's a little bit of a train wreck, but
it's terrible. Like it really is terrible.
Let me set it up real quick.
Okay.
Caribbean poker. Is this on a cruise or is this just like
This is the Caribbean GG. I mean, party poker.
Oh, like the Poker Star. Okay.
Yeah, this was at Bahamas. This was a 10K.
You're already in the money?
No, I don't know. I think it's day 1, and I can't see it at the table right now, but I believe it was a pretty tough table. I think
it doesn't look great.
Where's he at? I think Awesomeness was at the table too.
Your cutoff. I think he's button. This is the button here, the triangle. So you open like I watched 10 minutes before this hand. He 3-bet you, and you guys played a big pot. And this is 10 minutes later. 10 minutes later, you open cutoff. He 3-bets the button with the ace king. We don't see your hand till the end here, so we're kind of gonna sweat with you. So he 3-bets ace king off, and he says something. You'll hear it in the commentary. He says, "Oh, this player is loose," because I think you opened like Jack 9 or something in a previous hand. So he says this player is loose. I'm gonna 3-bet him with ace king, which is standard. He 3-bets. It folds around you to you, and you flat. So you guys go to the flop. Flop is 7-4-10 rainbow. You check. You play in flow. He c-bets. Third pot, you call. Turn is an ace. He improves. We still don't know your hand. You go check. He bets again. Half pot. You call. River pairs the board with a 10. No flushes got there. No straights. You check one more time. He puts you all in. You go in the tank for a long time and call off. And then you show your hand. We're not going to say what your hand is and let the audience sweat with you. And walk us through your thought process. Why did you call all 3 streets? But let's watch the hand first.
Okay, let's watch the hand.
Jugador de cutoff. Es el jugador que antes me ha metido Forbes Chove con Dama J off. Y ahora las tenemos buenas. Ahora tenemos a Rey. Vamos a tribetearle. Y a ver si sigue sin creerme.
So we had played together like 8 hours, and he 3-bet me probably half of my opens. like he was like going after me, and I mean, he probably saw something that I did, and he decided I'm the guy he's gonna attack. But it was like a real like. It was
That's what
annoying.
he said.
It was annoying as fuck, and he was owning me a lot. So that definitely was in my head during this hand for sure.
That's why he said maybe he still doesn't believe me when he 3-bet you. Yeah. So obviously there's a dynamic brewing between you two. But let's watch the rest of the hand and then give us the whole commentary.
Okay.
Cuenta un tamaño estándar. Y Joaquín piensa un poco pero abandona. Y este jugador... Venga, a ver si ahora me a ver si ahora me va all-in con As-Dama o con As-J o algo así. Sería bastante buena noticia, la verdad. Veremos a ver qué hace.
This is Mateos talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's narrating
Decide pagarme.
Spanish.
Bueno, estoy en posición con As-Rey, así que a ver si cae un buen flop. El flop no es bueno del todo. El bote ya vale 350.000.
You're dialed in here. The look on your face, the poker face is on point.
Pero
dialed
creo que
in.
una CB de tamaño pequeño creo que es correcta y que es lo que tengo que hacer. Eso es, hago una CB de 30% del bote aproximadamente. Y aquí lo que no quiero es que me vaya all-in. Si me va all-in tengo una decisión muy complicada. Aquí o quiero que se tire o incluso que me pague, no estaría mal. Pero por favor que no me vaya all-in.
God, I should have went all in. Fuck.
I know, right?
I should have went all in.
I don't know how deep you guys are.
No, I don't think we were like crazy deep. Probably like
40 bigs?
Less,
me
probably.
Hacer check call flop perfectamente con As-Dama, me puede hacer check call con As-J. Son manos a las que voy dominando. Aparte, si tiene algún 10x, si tiene algún 7, a lo mejor no se quiere tirar, no me cree. Aquí tengo que apostar por valor, por el segunda calle. Él no tiene muchísimas fichas por detrás, así que no me hace falta hacer un tamaño muy grande.
Yeah, I don't think I was that deep. Like you said, I didn't have a lot of chips. He even said I didn't have a lot of chips, so I don't know how. I don't think we were that deep, to be honest.
No, yeah, he was setting it up for an all-in on the river.
Yeah.
Bien. Bastante bien este call.
I wish I had a set.
I know, right?
Oh, spoiler.
I don't have a set, guys. I don't have a set.
Yeah, when you said it, when the hand started, you guys said it was a train wreck, so I assumed it was a pretty light river call.
Yeah, let's see if the audience here can guess what you have in this spot.
Creo que no tiene demasiados 10x. Creo que mi mano es muy fuerte a rey y como hemos visto antes, este jugador nunca me cree. Así que creo que tengo que ir.
Spot is here 990k, so it's 50 big blinds. So at that point, you have 25 bigs each. And he bets pot.
Efectivamente, le pongo all-in. Le quedan algo menos de unos 400.000, 500.000 puntos.
So that tells me you had
40-50% del bote.
Actually, you were deep because there's 25 bigs and he bet like almost 45 bigs on the river. So about 60 big blind deep, 65 to begin the hand.
Really? Damn.
Yeah, because he bet
even
900.
worse.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Empieza a pensar, casi siempre tengo la mejor mano. Así que estoy ya bastante contento cuando...
Okay, what's the thought process here? We don't want to ruin it to the audience to see your hand. Why are you putting him on here?
I don't know. Maybe I'll put him on air if I'm going to call off with a hand that's
like king, queen, jack. I mean, he has those hands a lot.
Honestly, he was 3-betting me with like king 4 suited and like jack 7 off, and like he was going nuts against me. Like it was so annoying. Literally like half the hands I opened, he was 3-betting. So I don't know. Maybe. Everything seemed kind of natural. Third pot flop, and then he bets bigger on the turn.
Half pot turn, and then pot.
Yeah.
River.
Huh. I mean, he has like, God, 10x, ace x. He has like a hand or like. There's not too many natural bluffs he's gonna have, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like the king, queen, queen, jack. That's the only hand you can beat.
There's like no natural bluffs. There's no flush draw on the turn. I should just
There are no
fold, but
natural bluffs.
I played the hand really bad. I should have just fold.
He has like 8-9 and the 5-6 that he went nuts with pre-flop. That's about it. And queen, jack, king, queen.
Yeah, this was like this is one of my worst moments, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Carl, just pulling out your worst moment, broadcasting.
This is Lana. Blame it on Lana.
Oh, okay.
Like I was telling you in the pre, before we started recording, yeah, somebody brought this hand up to me the other day,
and here we see
he was like, and the guy knows I'm like good. He knows I'm successful. He was like, what was going on? Like I was like, I don't freaking know, man. I don't remember the hand. Like when you told me, I thought it was like pocket eights I had or something, which pocket eights is probably a worse call than pocket threes. But I don't know, man. It was bad.
Yeah, you had the threes, and I know that walk very well. That you just want to be anywhere else
Get
except
the fuck out of here.
You just want to get the fuck exactly. You just want to bounce as fast as possible.
And the crazy part is, I wanted to rebuy that tournament, and we're in the Bahamas. It's like almost impossible to get any additional money. So I had to like go up to somebody I know, like, hey, can I get 10,000 for this tournament that I just called off with threes for? So I fired a second bullet, and I don't think I did well on that one either. After that performance,
with, the Matador on your left, yeah, I can only imagine.
It was annoying. It was a really tough table, all Euro guys, and then there was Jimmy Osmus and Mateos, and Mateos was like he was fucking me up, man.
I would have the reverse reaction of you. I would just be like, get me the fuck out of the Bahamas. Why am I in this tournament? I don't want to play against these guys.
I should have did that. I should have just left. I should have did that. Yeah.
David, let's move on.
Can we move on to a hand I played well, please?
There you go. Yeah. What the hell?
No, that was a train wreck. That was like, there's nothing anybody can ever take from that. Like my mind, I don't know what I was thinking. Like
it wasn't in a vacuum. There was obviously some dynamic brewing between you two, and then this was the blow up. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the questions from the chat. The guys in the comments. We have Kev DeBrock. Do you know Kev?
I'm really bad with names. I probably would recognize him if I saw him, but
he comments. He says one of the best grinders from South Florida. I'm guessing he knows you.
Not from South Florida, so he probably didn't know me. I'm from Central Florida, so no. A lot of people think I'm from South Florida, Miami area, because I used to play all the hard rock stuff.
Yeah. Way, so. Where do you live now, David?
Orlando. I live in Orlando.
Orlando. Okay. Yeah. Georgie Ferrer. Shout out to Georgie. He's a dealer here at TGT and a grinder too. We just put fire emojis. 5 fire emojis. Okay, this is the hand from Roberto Bendeck. Shout out to Roberto. He puts a hand that he played with you in the 2023 main event, but he doesn't give me the end result. So I don't know if you remember the hand. We can walk you through it.
So it's a WPT main event. This is probably WPT. Like in Hard Rock.
A WPT main in 2023. Okay. He gives me the hand history, but he doesn't give me what happens on the river. Okay. He opens. I think he shared this on a group chat, the LFGO group chat on Facebook one time. I remember it. So anyway, effective stack is 40K. So 50 bigs, blinds at 400, 800, 800. Hero opens button with 6-8 diamond to 2K.
That's him. He's the hero.
That's him. David, the villain. 3 bets from the small blind to 6,100. So you 3-bet 3x.
Okay.
Hero calls, so he calls. Flop is Jack 8-6, 2 clubs, so he flops 2 pair. We don't know your hand yet. Pot is 13K. David checks, so you're playing in flow. Hero bets 4,200, so he goes for the 3rd pot, and you call. Turn is the ace of clubs, putting the flush on board. So now the board is Jack 8-6 with an ace on the turn, 3 clubs on board. Pot is 22K, goes check, check. And then he asks here, should Hero continue barreling? He's wondering if he should have barreled the turn.
Yes, he should.
I agree.
And then river counterfeits his 2-pair. These are spots, by the way, GTO approved to bluff when your low 2-pairs get counterfeit. It's a good spot to bluff because you're blocking a lot of the sets, a lot of value hands that you could have. So he went rivers. The pot is 22K on the river. It comes a jack. So now the board reads Jack 8 6 Ace Jack. So his 6-8 got counterfeited. You lead into him for 7,500. So you lead the third pot, which is very weird sizing, and he ends it here. And
yeah, he should probably jam his hand in position. I like that a lot.
The bet size too. It could that sizing could be attacked very easily. But he doesn't give us the ending. So, Roberto, if you're listening,
let us know, man.
You
let us know what happened.
You don't
remember.
You don't remember the hand, right? Obviously,
I don't remember, but I will say it seems pretty hard for me to get to that river and take that line without having something, right?
Something, right?
Yeah.
I would say if you wanted,
his hand's not good. I would say his hand's not good very often. If I took that exact line.
Agree.
But what are you repping? Are you repping like you went check call on the flop? Turn went check with the ace, and then the jack river. Like, do you have a jack there in that spot?
I mean, his hand looks a lot like Jack X, right?
Right.
Or like tens or 10s or 9s or 7s or 5. That's what his hand looks like. So
his hand looks like Jack X just because of the check turn. Like he has showdown value, but he doesn't want to go nuts on the turn. So he has showdown value. It's not air.
So me to get to that spot, and looks like I'm going for a value size. I gotta have a hand that's pretty damn good, I think.
Your sizing is weird. Why would you go third pot there?
I mean, maybe I'm just trying to get paid off by 7s, 5s, 9s, 10s. I look at things a lot like, okay, so I'm targeting in this hand. Let's say I had a hand like ace, king, 10s.
I feel like you have ace X there in that spot. That's the only hand that makes sense. Ace X is trying to get value on the river.
If I have ace X, I probably have to have ace X with like a king or a queen of clubs, probably.
That's the only hand.
Maybe even a 10 of clubs, like ace with a 10 of clubs. But I mean, he has Jack X a lot, right?
Yeah.
So am I just bet folding? I don't know. Well, I don't remember what I had, so I don't know exactly.
Your sizing is literally bet folding there. Like if you get raised on that river, if he has a value hand, you're just bet raising river. Like if you have ace X, are you ever leading turn? When you hit the ace?
I could. I mean, I don't really know what I could have. Can I have flushes? I don't know. Can I have Jack X myself? I don't know.
You have some flushes that you're going for a check raise on the turn, and it goes check, and then you go for value on the river. That hand makes sense.
I think I just bet the flop though with those hands, right? I mean,
you would lead flop
draw.
If
I 3-bet, right?
Oh, you 3-bet. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you
3-bet.
I think if I wanted to get
Jack X, I'm gonna bet Jack X. I'm gonna bet my flush draws. It's hard for me to have a jack or a flush unless I was doing something different. I do stuff weird all the time. So now
that I'm backtracking that you 3-bet pre, why did you even check that board? I feel like you're going for a trap. Why would you even Jack high board is like a C-bet, like very high frequency when you 3-bet.
When I 3-bet, check that flop and bet that river. I think I have like a pretty strong hand a lot of times.
I think so too. It's a weird.
Maybe I'm targeting. I'm just betting smaller to target certain hands that he would check back, bet flop, and check back with.
Let's talk river play. How often do you use block bets on the river for whether for value or bluffs, or do you ever use them?
I rarely use them as bluffs. I do use them. I use them a lot, especially in PLO. I use them a lot.
So you use them as traps?
I have used them as traps. It's usually I use them as a trap in a spot where I'm pretty confident that they have air a lot. When I use them as pure blocks, it's usually when I can put them on something that's got showdown value or is going to call a pretty high percent of the time, or a hand that they might raise with, and I'm fine with just bet folding.
I mean, when I say block betting, people interpret block bets as weak. Like block bets is just the sizing determines as a block bet. So it has to be, the sizing has to be like 10% pot. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're weak. So you can block bet with strong hands and weak hands. Shane, how often do you use block bets?
Probably more than like anyone ever. Yeah, I use them a lot.
Yeah,
they're very strong.
And you're balancing between value and bluffs?
Well, it's hard to say because like there's tons of situations where it's like it's value, as in they'll just like snap call like fourth pair because I bet 10th pot. But there's gonna be for sure spots where it's like way more polar, where it's like so yeah, sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's a merged thing where like I have second pair, solid kicker, and they'll call worse. And but like my strategy doesn't really let me like check call them because they like pick stupid sizes or bet stupid hands on river. Like a lot of people don't really know what to do on rivers.
Those are the people I block bet against a
yeah,
lot. The guy who
counters stupidity.
Stupid sizing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's the other times where it's like a flush complete or something, and they like capped turn action or something. So you'd want to have like nut flushes that block, and then like just 4 high that like got to river that bricked like a gut shot on the straight. So like I would still just like for sure just have like 6 high, 8 high, and bet 10% and make them fold ace highs or queen highs or whatever.
Oh, you haven't talked about value. That's what I was trying to say. So sometimes you block bet just to set the price because you know that guy is, you're calling river if they bet.
That's value. What do you mean by value?
What I mean by value is like you're betting to induce. So you have the nuts, and instead of going for value, you bet like 10% pot to induce because you know you have a strong hand. So you're
the only time I would do that is that'd be in the polar section. That'd be when I have the nut flush on like a flush.
Like, so you're using 10%, like you bet 10% or 20% pot
only against certain villains. It's not something I'm just gonna like show up to Tampa and do against like some random person, because what happens is like if you're gonna do it for value, you need them to spaz into you or like be capable of like raising with fucking worse hands. That's like they won't. Most people won't. I just for sure don't rely on population.
I would do it because I always say it, some villains just don't put chips in the pot unless they have it. So again, these guys, they're not going to spaz. I did it a couple weeks ago against a guy, and he spazzed with pocket tens on a king high board. I think I turned the flush and he spazzed. I bet 10% river. He had pocket tens and he just went nuts, and I jammed all in, and he looked at me like, what the hell just happened? He thought he interpreted the 10% as weak, but I had the nuts.
You need someone who like has ego and also like prides themselves on their live reads. So you kind of like induce them with like a baited live read on like, oh, I look weak, don't I? So yeah, I'm pretty selective with it for that purpose. But a lot of the time it's going to be what David probably agrees on, which is like I don't trust you to like play a good strategy here and like allow me to hero you, like, because my hand's probably supposed to be a check call, but like you don't bluff enough. Yeah, so I think I would probably do something that David would do a lot, which with like with these marginal value hands where I can't trust my opponent to like bet the river. Like maybe my hand's supposed to be a check call, and I know it's supposed to be a check call. I have a great bluff catcher or whatever, but they don't like fire enough. They're just gonna like check back 10 high and like lose. So you have these opponents who you can't trust to put more money in. So you have to like block 10%. And then if they raise you, you just muck. And if they call, you had a solid second pair and you get a little bit of extra juice, but they're not going to like go thin enough for value. So this strategy outperforms like the check call strategy.
Yeah. I mean, I block bet when I know I had the worst hand sometimes, which is kind of weird to say. Like, I know I'm going to have the worst hand like half the time, and then half the time I'm going to be good. So I don't want to have to check call versus what, 1/3 sizing. You're supposed to check call 1/3 sizing or something. So, and they're not going to bet 1/3. They're going to bet bigger. So I just block bet so I don't have to check call too big. And then when I have like a nutted hand, I usually only do that when I'm pretty confident they have like a super weak hand that could only win by raising, you know.
There's actually like two sides to the coin too, because it's not even they won't bluff enough, but they also won't raise your block bet for value thin enough. So
they will just call you a top pair sometimes.
Yeah. You might show up to a river with like ace 6 of clubs or something, and they have ace king, and the river like comes in ace. So now like you hit top pair, you have ace 6,
Yeah.
But if you were to block, their ace king, their ace queen is supposed to raise you like big.
Yeah, they just call.
But a lot of people would just call and they like squint at you like, what are you trying to fucking do something to me? What are you trying to trap me? And then they just like call and you just don't lose as much chips that way. Yeah.
We have a rapid fire fun questions here towards the end, and we can wrap it up. Name 3 celebrity poker players that you admire.
3 celebrity poker players. Well, I'll say I was playing my first ever time to Vegas. I sat down. I was at the South Point and I was playing, and I was playing with this guy for hours, and then the dealer says, "Hey, I love you in Superman." I look over and it's Gene Hackman. I'm playing against Gene Hackman for like half hours. Yeah, I'm like, wow, man, this is such like crazy. I'm playing against Gene Hackman, but that was over 10 years ago, but yeah, that was really cool to play against him. Well, I didn't even know it was him. We were even talking, like conversating. I had no idea it was Gene Hackman. But yeah,
what event was that? What event was Gene Hackman?
Oh no, it was just like it was a 1-2 Hold'em game at the South Point. It was just like super random. Yeah,
that's crazy. That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, I mean celebrity pros.
Celebrities that play a lot. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. Are there like a lot of celebrities that play a lot?
But are you asking him for like actors, or are you asking him for like pro players?
Pro players. That's what.
Pro players. I thought you meant like
Ray Romano.
No. Yeah, I'm thinking celebrities like an actor. Okay, Phil Ivey. Yeah, I played against. I finally got to play against him last summer in a $1,500 event, and he told me nice hand, and my heart melted a little bit. So like, thank you, Phil. Thank you. And then later on, we played a hand and we went to showdown, and I don't even know what I did, but after he showed his hand and I like kind of took a second and I mucked, he just like gave me this look like, what the hell are you doing even calling? Like he gave me like a super like an Ivy look, and I was just like, I felt stupid. I was like, I don't know. No. I don't know what I did wrong, but he gave me this look like I should know like not to call him or something.
The look said it all, huh? He didn't have to say anything.
Yeah, it was a Raz hand, and like if he had like one low card underneath, he's gonna beat me. But the pot had gotten so big, and I called, and I basically waited for him to show all of his cards for me to like muck my hand. I ended up catching like bad card, so it's like it was really awful situation to be in. But I made the call because I was getting like 12-1 or something, and then I was no good, and he gave me this look like why'd you make me show this hand if you can't even beat this one card? It was really weird. I don't even know what I did wrong, but he gave me this look, and I was like,
I would do that pure. I force people to show me their cards always.
Yeah, I want to see every one of his cards. Like I'm not just gonna muck my hand. I want to see all of them.
You do that? I don't do that. I don't force people to show.
I force
hands.
Every single.
I don't want to have. So when that happens, I don't want to have to show my hand. I'd rather the guy just muck. So I just sit there and wait.
Me too.
And he's like 8 high, and I want to see if you had 8 high with 2 hearts, or you had 8 high with 1 heart. I want to see exactly what you had, right?
Yeah.
That's why he gave you the look. He hates that.
In a cash game that I play regularly, I would just show my hand.
Show your hand, yeah.
Yeah. In a tournament, I don't know, you guys, like you're forced to play with me, buddy. Like I don't care. Like I want to see your hand.
Even when they say like 8 high, I like roll my eyes and I'm like, 8 high with what kicker, man? Like let's show me. Like
yeah, when people say like top pair, I wait for them to show their kicker as if I'm mucking top pair too. You know,
I need to know how you're playing.
Yeah. So that definitely Phil Ivey. He's been like my only I had a thing where I was gonna like tell people that he taught me how to play poker. I was gonna be like this big lie that was gonna go on for a long time, but I decided not to do it because
you could have done it here.
I could have done it. I could have yeah, of course. I met this guy Phil, and he started showing me everything that he knew about me. Yeah, that was definitely one lie I was gonna go with, but I was like, nah, man.
Look him up on Hendon Mob. Phil Ivey. Yeah, that's him.
Some reporters sometimes they would ask me like, "What's your name?" I'd be at like an event. I'm like, Philip, and they're like, last name like Ivy, and they would give me a look. I'm like, no, that's not my name, obviously.
Favorite starting hand.
Favorite starting hand. Aces.
Well said.
No. King, Jack 10 9 8 double suited. Jack 10 9 8 double suited.
Jack 10 9 8 double suited. Fair
that's my
enough.
favorite. Sorry.
Favorite poker variant besides Hold'em?
PLO. Yeah. I
PLO.
love PLO. I've actually, I don't know, man. I love them all, but PLO is definitely where I play nearly every day. So, yeah, PLO.
Favorite poker stop, poker destination?
So Vegas hates me. Like Vegas really hates me. I go to Vegas, I get sick, I get itchy, dry, my lips. It's like the worst. But
Vegas has something against you.
It hates me. The city hates me. I'm always sick. There's always something happening to me for a while. But I love Vegas because the WSOP. That's my favorite.
The weather is rough. I'm used to that weather. I was in Afghanistan for 2 years, but it's rough for sure.
Wow.
Pet peeve at the table. Something that players do that gets on your nerve.
I hate when people use nicknames for hands. I hate when people say, "Oh, I had Big Slick," or I hate when people say on the river they're like Broadway. I hate that. I hate
the Cowboys. The Cowboys.
I hate
or
that.
American Airlines. Yeah, I hate it too.
It's so
I hate it all too,
cringy.
I guess. Yeah.
It's so 1988.
It's so cringy. And if like people go really deep and like start making up names for like Motown and like, I'm like, bro, like,
you know what? I heard one like a week ago. I wish I can remember it. It was the first time I hear it. I forgot what the hand was. It was the first time I hear the term. They called the hand something, but I've never heard it before, and they made the explanation for it. The dealer said it. I'll try to remember it, but it was new to me. Most comfortable attire at the poker table. What do you normally wear?
Usually I try to wear a tech fleece that zips up to here or a hoodie.
Do you ever hide your face at the table, mouth or anything, or no?
No, never do that.
Just the neck. You hide the neck. That's it.
Just the neck. Yeah, I don't want to look like I'm covered up. I don't want to look like I'm trying to be covered up, like I'm trying to hide something. And I want to have like comfortable shoes. Shoes I don't mind getting messed up because I wear a lot of nice shoes on a regular basis, and I don't want to have nice shoes where I feel like I'm gonna stuff them up, bumping into somebody next to me. I don't want to have anything I have to worry about. I want to just be comfortable, worry about nothing, focus on only poker. So definitely want to have like cheaper, comfortable shoes.
One word to describe your poker style.
Lucky.
Good one.
And I say that because I like to play big pots.
Let's get inside the mind of David. This is a normal question on the podcast. Let's say you're in a hand, like a standard hand. You open, or somebody opens, you defend. Whether it's Hold'em or mixed games, what goes through your head during a hand? Like, basically tell us the whole breakdown, the whole thought process. Just a standard hand, doesn't have to be a specific hand.
There's just like so many things. Like tournament, okay, so it's like, let's say I have 30 blinds. Let's say there's 17 people left. Fold it to me before I open. What are the stacks behind me, right? Everybody looks at the stacks behind them. Let's say somebody else opens. And I think a lot of the times when I'm going to trap, it's going to be small stacks behind me that are going to jam, something like 20-something big blind stacks that are capable, you know. But basically, I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at all the stack sizes. I'm thinking about the payout, how many people are left, how much my stack is worth, what would happen if I was able to double my stack, what I could do at the table, my position at the table, how favorable it is for me. Just all. I mean,
how about the hand itself? Like the hand itself, are you keeping track of the pot, your bet sizes according to the pot, their range, your range, action on future streets? All that stuff is going through your head.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's hard. This is why I say I'd be a bad coach. It's hard for me to explain. People ask me for coaching all the time. Like I would be a terrible coach. I don't know how to explain my thought process. My thought process is here I am in the moment. I mean, and it just all it clicks for me, you know?
It's weird. Yeah. You're a hands-on guy. You just like go in there and wing it, and it works for you. Obviously, you're doing all the right things at the table. You just can't break it down in words. See, Shane over here is a good coach because he There's a difference between coaching and playing. You could be a great player, like you're doing top-notch stuff, but you can't break it down. And there are some players like Doug Polk. That's why he's great, because he can break down his thought process. If he takes an action, he's going to tell you exactly why, the why. Like some people can't say it. You can't word it, but you're doing the correct things. Shane here, he can break down everything, his thought process. He started coaching too. The human solver.
It's cool. It's cool you even think about like what you could do with those chips. There's actually like solver tools for this, at least in Hold'em, but it's called FGS, or Future Game Simulation. And you can add it to like a solve. You could be like, if I call off 9s here, what happens? And it'll be like, oh, you make $50 when you click call with 9s or whatever. But then there could be like another simulation that runs like 50 hands into the future, like what happens with the stacks over like 100%. A large sample. And it's like, if you win that hand with 9s, it might not be worth $50. It might be worth like 300. Like, because if you get those chips, now like, now you're big, and like the middle position player can't open, because now you're like a huge stack of roadblock in between. So
yeah, that's what I think about a lot. I think about those things a lot. It's like, okay, what can I do with a stack? Yeah, what can I do with a stack? And a lot of times, like, there's spots I'll pass up on. Like if we're like 15 from the money, I'll pass up on these spots because I want to preserve those chips so I can use those chips on the bubble. You know, things like that, like that I'm thinking about. Like, okay, I'm not gonna like 3-bet this hand, even though this guy's opened a bunch of times. I'm just gonna like fold this hand, preserve these chips, go into the bubble with 40 big blinds, and my 40 big blinds are gonna be 70 big blinds into the bubble. Like, I'm just gonna just smash the bubble. But if I lose this hand, so say somebody jams cutoff and I'm in the big blind, king queen, right? They jam 11 big blinds, we're 20 from the money. I might just fold that because I don't want to have a 28 big blind stack. I want to keep my 40 big blinds so I can do more stuff on the bubble. Because if I lose those 12 big blinds, it's huge. And if I gain those 12 big blinds, it's not a lot anyways. It's like I'm going from 40 to 52. Like, I'm fine with 40 on the bubble. Like, I'm gonna make that work. But 28 on the bubble, I gotta fold a lot on the bubble. Like, I can't pressure anybody with 28 bigs. Like, I'm stuck in a spot. Like, that's
you need to cover them by like more. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta
leverage is a lot to you.
Yeah.
There's there's one cool thing I was gonna share, like kind of revolving around this, but almost from a different angle. And there's spots in mystery bounties where like everyone plays a mystery bounty. There's no bounties until you get to the final 100 players. Mm-hmm. So you're playing all this tournament, you're playing chips, you're collecting chips, and then obviously you want chips after the final 100 so you can knock people out or whatever. But there's like, these are really in the weeds solved, but there's a situation that can occur where like, say there's like 101 or 102 left, you're on the bubble, and like some guy jams for like 2.5 big blinds. Like, obviously, and you're in the big blind, you just like call any 2, right? Like,
no, let him survive, bro. Let him survive.
Yeah, there's for sure solves that'll say like you can make more like in the big blind folding aces and keeping him at the table for 2 more hands, because once the bounties are in play, you can just run any 2 cards against him. You can run like 7-3 offsuit against him, and it'll make money because you actually get the bounty equity now. Whereas like knocking him out for 2 big blinds with aces means nothing. Gaining 2 big blinds into your stack doesn't do anything. But knocking him out can win 100 grand.
That's a very nice concept. I've never heard that one before, but it's definitely valid.
Yeah, that's something that came up, and I never played it Mystery Bounty, but I mean, you just figure that stuff out, right?
What's more worth it to you, 2 big blinds or keeping him alive when the bounties are in play?
Yeah. So keeping people alive is a huge thing that I do. When I'm playing PLO, this is a long time ago. I remember a tournament where like 6 cash, and there was like 8 people at the table, and I kept certain people alive just so I can pick on. I was the chip leader, just so I can pick on number 2 and number 3 and get them low enough where they can't do anything. I literally had like 80% of the chips in play on the bubble just by doing this, keeping the right people alive, and yeah, and there's just so many dynamics when it comes to tournaments and little nuances like that where people are like, oh, like I have this hand, I'm just gonna call this guy off. Like, it's for 4 big blinds, I'm just calling it off. It's PLO. No, I just fold it. And actually, the other day when I finished 3rd in the PLO at Hard Rock, what's his name? James Caldero. Yeah. So Caldo was at the table, and I'm telling you, this guy played terrific. Okay. It was four-handed, and he was folding his big blinds to some of these short stack shoves and coming after me. I knew he was, right? He was actively doing what I do to other people. He was keeping these two short stacks alive just to chip me down, and he was really coming after me really hard.
It makes you want to be like, dude, fucking stop.
When I played back at him, he showed a straight flush and quads. The two times I played back at him, I swear to God, he had a straight flush and he had quads. The two times I played back at him, I was like, what am I doing? Like this guy, like how unlucky is that? This guy just wakes up with those hands after I know what he's doing. I can see what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's just cool concepts like that you can make a lot of money from.
I'm gonna get Caldo. Caldo is a natural talent, by the way. I don't think he studies that much, but he's just naturally good. I'm gonna get him on the podcast too.
Someone mentioned him he played in cash games like a decade ago, like 25-50, some underground games. They were like, do you know that dude Caldo? He was there. Like, so I'm sure he's got some cool stories.
He doesn't come off as very sharp like his image, but I know I can see the stuff he's doing. He's pretty sharp, and he's a good slick talker too. He gets people to do something.
Yeah. He's a street guy. He knows people very well. He's good at reading people. Yeah, he's a street guy for sure.
I was very impressed what he did at that final table. I don't know if he won. I know he was heads up. I got knocked out in third.
Let's wrap this podcast up with mental game stuff. You play the WSOP. It's a long grind. It's you stay out the whole time. The whole month.
It all depends. Last WSOP, I went out for a week, came home, and went back for another week and a half. So I only played like 2.5 weeks last year. And I did pretty damn well. The year before that, I played. God, I want to say I only played like 10 tournaments or something, or maybe it was the year before that. So I try to get out there. This year, I'm going to go for the entire series. I have to fly home for 6 days, but I'll go back. But I try to go for as long as possible when I can.
So talk to us about preparation as far as mental and physical. Are you doing any work in the gym, cardio, lifting weights? And as far as mental game, what goes into it as far as preparation, or you just wing it? And because I asked like Becker, for example, no strategy. He just sits down and plays. There's no preparation. Do you have any secrets?
I don't really work out particularly for the benefit of poker or anything like that. I do work out occasionally, and I go through like ebbs and flows of where I'm working out, where I'm not working out. But my main thing at the table is, where I'm for the World Series, is I play a lot of the 3 p.m. tournaments, so I want to make sure I sleep pretty late. I want to sleep until 1 p.m. That way I'm fresher at the end, because I'm 41 now. I have like a huge drop off at the end of nights, and I can see other players, they have these huge drop offs. So my main thing is be fresh at the end of the night, eat accordingly throughout the day, so you're fresh in the night. And as far as like mental game, I think that's probably the next step for me, is getting a mental game coach. Because I, like a lot of people, I know what I want to do. I know what I think the right play is, and sometimes I just don't do it. And I gotta figure out a way where I'm always doing exactly what I want to do, instead of like doing some impulsive things where at the last minute, like, well, you could have a bluff I call. No, you've already determined what it is, right? You've already broken it down. You know what the right play is. That's what you have to do. So I'm having trouble with that. I think a lot of people struggle with that, like the fuck it mentality or whatever.
Discipline, basically. That falls under
discipline. Yeah. So
the
I
second thing is, there's no secret as far as like mental game. Is there a supplement you're taking, or you're just naturally talented as far as focus? Like you can stay focused for long hours.
I'm actually naturally, like, I have ADHD. Like it's really hard for me to sit there and focus.
Do you take Adderall? Do you take anything?
I was prescribed Adderall for a while, and I was prescribed like a 20 milligrams, and I would take like 5. And I did that for maybe a 1 year span. I didn't like what it did to me. I'd rather just play natural. So it takes a lot out of me to sit there and focus for a long time. So that's why I can't even play every day, because I get really drained. I heard that chess players, I play a lot of chess, that they burn like 2,000 calories a match or something. And I'm like, well, I think I'm in that boat. Like the way I think about every little aspect of what's happening in every hand, and I'm watching everything all the time. I'm in the hand when I'm not in the hand. You know what I mean? And it takes a lot out of you. And I think that basically I lost my train of thought.
That's sick that you can stay focused that long with diagnosed ADHD. I was doing some research
really tough.
yesterday, about what Adderall does and side effects and stuff. It's pretty bad for you, like all uppers and speed and stuff. If you lose them for a long time, at certain dosages, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I definitely quit. I mean, and I know the first time I ever took it, I won the tournament. Literally, the first time I ever took Adderall, I won the tournament. And then the next time I took Adderall after that, I was playing the 25K PLO, and I ended up making like the final 18 or something. And I took Adderall then. I mean, I was super sharp focused, but the next day I was like, oh, like it just sucks.
Question: why did you said I don't like what it does to me? What exactly does it do to you?
Because you're supposed to take it every day, and I don't want to take that crap every day, right? I just took it a couple times to focus when I felt like I wasn't focusing. And the next day after you take it, you feel like kind of depressed. Like you need something to keep you like happy, you know?
Because that's what it does.
It was not good. It sends little things to your brain saying, "Hey, be happy, be happy, be happy."
Dopamine, because dopamine makes you focus, makes you happy. Yeah, it's an antidepressant too, in a way.
Definitely didn't like the way I would come down off of it, and I just had to stop taking that stuff.
There's definitely a come down. Yeah, it depletes your dopamine. David, thank you so much for coming on. Shane, thank you for co-hosting as usual. It was fun.
Okay, cool, man.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys, have a good one.
All right, guys, see ya.
Cheers.
Right.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.